Hello everyone, my name is James, the creator of the Raven of the Scythe fantasy role-playing game. Welcome back to my channel. So in the last couple of videos we have made a few characters for Raven of the Scythe to kind of show off how character creation can work for making different types of characters, to do different roles within a hypothetical party that we're making. So far we have a tank, a rogue type character, and a evoker, but we don't have anything in the way of healing yet, and this is a pretty integral part of a fantasy role-playing adventure party. So I decided to make up a healer to kind of show how that would work in a game of Raven of the Scythe. So, first things first, there are a few different avenues that you can pursue to make a healer type character. You can go with the obvious answer, which is to make an abjurer mage, being a spellcaster that focuses on the school of abjuration, which I will probably do a video about very quickly. But, since I just made one spellcasting character, I really didn't want to make another one right away. So we're going to look at alternative ways to provide the party with healing. And the first thing you're going to want to look at if you're interested in making a healer in Raven of the Scythe is the healing skill. So the healing skill can be found in the core rules. It is based off of the mind attribute, and with just healing by itself, you can do a few things. First and foremost, you have the option of care and comfort, which it says you can care for others using the healing skill. After a patient has rested, you may make a healing check, difficulty 10, to double the number of points they recovered. That's pretty cool. Healing in Raven of the Scythe isn't something that's typically done instantaneously. Like, there are a few ways you can do it, like I already mentioned, abjuration magic as one way. But outside of that, natural healing tends to take time, like at least a couple of days. Because I didn't want the parties to be bogged down and basically crippled after every single fight, but I also wanted the fights to have consequences. And the rate of natural healing is one of those consequences. Now, of course, you also can, say, for instance, spend determination points to heal yourself, but that also, you're burning a resource there, so now you may have all your hit points back, but now you need to recover your determination. And this can be done in the right circumstances pretty easily, but still it's a consideration. But care and comfort using the healing skill lets you double the amount of hit points that someone recovers from resting. The next option that healing provides is diagnose sickness. So if a character ends up getting sick through some kind of disease, they can use the healing skill to figure out exactly what sickness it is, and that's the first step to treating it. So we won't go too much into that right now because sicknesses and diseases could very well be their own video. But then the last thing that healing gives you is first aid. This is an extended action, and it says in the core rulebook, you may make a healing check to help a character that is fading. Fading is the term used to describe a character that is out of hit points and is in the process of dying unless they get help. By making a healing check, the patient wakes up with a single hit point. The difficulty for this check is equal to 10 plus the number of hit points the character is below 0. So if someone is at -1 hit points, then the difficulty for this check is going to be 11. So just with the healing skill, you have a couple of options, but that's probably not exactly where you want to stop if you're trying to make a dedicated healing character. Now, the healing skill by itself is really good. Care and comfort alone could be very useful. First aid is almost critical in some cases. But if you want to make a character that you feel comfortable calling a healer, you're going to want to maybe take it a step further. So then we're going to look at the favors that are available. So the first of the favors that is going to be important for a healing character is in the education category. And here you will find a number of skills that are based off of your character's level of education. These tend to be your more scholarly style skills. And there is one right here. It is the second favor down. It is called Healer. And with it, it says you are skilled in the healing arts far beyond the average healer. You gain the following uses of the healing skill. First and foremost is treat damage. As an extended action, you gain the ability to heal another character from damage they've taken. The difficulty for this check, just like with the first aid healing skill use, it's going to be 10 plus the damage that they've taken. So it's going to be progressively harder to heal someone who's seriously injured versus someone who just has a scratch or something. And the amount of hit points that you can help someone recover is based on your training in the healing skill. So it's going to start out pretty low at 1d4 for an extended action and go all the way up to 1d10 if you manage to max out your healing skill. And the next thing that you do is treat sickness. As an extended action, make a healing check, difficulty 12, to create an herbal remedy for a particular sickness. Each sickness requires a unique combination of herbs to create for information, and it tells you some more stuff that you can find information on diseases about. Like I said, I'd probably end up doing a separate video just on diseases, so for right now, we're just focusing on hit points, but keep in mind that that is something that's also there. If you go this route and take healer, then you also get the option of taking healing expert a little bit later on. This requires a healing training of 4, and you have to have the healer favor as a prerequisite. And with this one, you can treat injury. This is big because in Raven of the Scythe, if your character loses all of their hit points, they become injured. And an injured character suffers penalty on their checks, and they have a hard time resting, so they don't recover as many hit points as they normally would when they rest. So this is like someone having a broken bone or like some kind of very severe injury that isn't just going to go away. With healing expert, you get the ability to make the injured status go away. So this would be like performing surgery on someone. It's risky. There is certainly some risk involved. If you fail your check, you can actually damage the patient that you're trying to treat. But this is something that's very, very useful, especially if someone gets injured and you don't have access to a hospital or a medical facility of some type. So maybe if this isn't the way you want to go about being a healer, you can also look in prayers. So prayers are a subgroup of favors that, as the name implies, you get from like religious devotion and maybe like sacred rituals or something like that. The exact nature of prayers will depend a lot on what kind of world you're playing in, but for the basic Raven of the Scythe world, prayers operate as just kind of a quick little, I hesitate to say magical, but kind of spiritual manifestation. Now, whether or not this is coming from God or from the gods or from like holy spirits or maybe just the faith of the person performing the rite, that's left completely to interpretation, and by all means have a lot of fun figuring that out, like how you want to make it work in your world. but by default, there's no real strong like metaphysical explanation given this is just something that works. So the first of the prayers that you have access to is something called the Rite of Blessing. It requires a lore training of 2, and you sacrifice some of your own willpower to give to others in need. Says you may, as an extended action, make a lore check, difficulty 10, to spend 1 point of determination and restore a spent point of determination to the recipient. You must be able to physically touch the recipient. So this is something quick, like you basically lose one of your points of determination and give it to one of your allies. Now you could do this if you had an ally who needed to heal and they were out of determination, so you can give them determination that they can spend to heal with. Like I already said, determination is a resource that you might need to manage, but that seems like a really roundabout method of going about it if your goal is just to heal. So with that said, that brings us to another of the prayer favors. This one is called Rite of Healing. And this one's a little bit more difficult to get. It requires a lore training of 4, and you have to have the Rite of Blessing. But with this one, it says, this rite allows you to heal others by the power of faith. This is sometimes called laying of hands. You may, as an extended action, make a lore check, difficulty 12, to spend 1 point of determination to heal the recipient, as if they had spent a point of determination to heal themselves. You may use this rite even if the recipient is unable to spend determination to recover hit points themselves due to sickness, injury, or some other condition. You must be touching the recipient to use this rite. So, like I said, you can spend determination to heal yourself. Well, with this one, you get to spend one of your points of determination to heal someone else. And this is particularly useful because there are some conditions that make you unable to spend determination to heal yourself. So, having someone in your party who knows how to do this can be extraordinarily beneficial. Not only that, it opens up the Rite of Greater Healing, which requires a lore training of 6, the Rite of Blessing, and the Rite of Healing. And this one says, you may, as an extended action, make a lore check, difficulty 15, to spend 1 point of determination to heal a target up to 5 yards away, as if they had spent a point of determination to heal themselves. So at this point, now you have more range options with it. And without going into magical solutions, that's kind of it as far as That's kind of it as far as options you have to heal other members of your party. So that's what I decided to do with this character that I made as an example. I made a healer character. I made Mike the Healer. And with Mike the Healer, I gave him a score of 2 in mind, 1 in stamina, and 1 in willpower. I chose mind to kind of be the favorite attribute because both lore and healing work off mind, which then is going to play into his skills a little bit later on. He has a 1 in stamina because I didn't want him to be extraordinarily easy to take down. If your healer needs healing, then your party's in trouble, so I wanted to mitigate that some. And lastly, his willpower of 1 gives him an extra point of determination. Because, like we've already established, determination is an important resource, and you don't want your healer running out of determination. Now, with skills, I decided to use the focused character option for him. So, he has a training score of 4 in lore, and he took 2 in healing, which gives him a healing proficiency of +4 and a lore proficiency of +6. And for his lore field of study, he has religion. field of studies are a consideration within the lore skill that maybe get their own video because they come up in a few different ways. But for right now, he took the field of study religion, which is going to help him identify undead monsters and maybe demons if he ever encounters one. And for his favors, I took healer, which plays off of his lore skill, and then I took rite of blessing. Now at this point I didn't have enough favors to give him the rite of blessing and the rite of healing, so he's going to have to work up to that, but thanks to his high mind score, he does start out with 2 experience points, so he only needs like 3 more to get the rite of healing prayer. So it's not that far away, but it is something he's going to have to work for a little bit. I did go ahead and give him a quarterstaff because, as I've already covered, quarterstaffs are a fantastic weapon for characters that aren't otherwise interested in fighting, so he's got at least a little bit of a chance to defend himself if it comes to it. But honestly, Mike the healer is going to be better off trying to stay out of harm's way as much as possible. Good thing his party already has a tank that can hopefully take some of those hits for him. And lastly, he does have a suit of armor in the form of a leather jerkin, which gives him a very small amount of protection. But without going any further into his background or anything like that, that is Mike the healer, and that has been a pretty quick and rough summary of the way healing works in Raven of the Scythe. It's a little bit more difficult than it might be in games like Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, but it's nowhere near as crippling as it is in games like Call of Cthulhu. So I was trying to kind of thread that needle right through to like this happy middle ground, and hopefully I did it. If you have any ideas about how to make a fantastic healer in Raven of the Scythe, let me know in the comments below. If you want to see Mike the healer, I'm going to go ahead and post this character sheet over on Patreon. You can check that out for free. If you do feel like supporting me, you can get access to my videos and even Raven of the Scythe products early. So if that's something you would consider, really appreciate it. But with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed the video. My name is James, and I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you soon.